In today's video we're gonna make some amazing buttermilk scones. We're gonna make one with rosemary and pecorino cheese, and then we're gonna make one with golden raisins and pecan nuts. Start by adding 225 grams of plain flour, 10 grams of baking powder, 25 grams of sugar, and 4 to 5 grams of sea salt or kosher salt. Take 50 grams of cold butter and cut it into 1 centimeter cubes and put it back in the fridge to keep it cold. Scale of 50 grams of pecan nuts. You can roast these pecan nuts a little bit and it will give a little bit more flavor, and then give them a rough chop, and then take 50 grams of golden raisins and add it all to your mixture. Give it a quick mix just to combine all the ingredients, and take the cold butter from the fridge and add it into your mixture and start crumbling it just like you would do if you were making like a pie crust. I found this method very easy. Some people use a food processor to do this, but yeah, I just use my hands. Put your bowl back on the scale and scale of 150 milliliter of buttermilk, or if you don't have buttermilk you can use normal milk, and give it a little mix. But if it seems too dry you can always add a little bit more buttermilk. Empty your dough out on a well floured surface, and you don't want to knead this dough, you just want to give them some gentle folds. You want to create those flakiness of your scones, and then you take a rolling pin and roll it down to like 1.5 centimeter thickness. If you have a set of pastry cutters, use the 5 to 6 centimeter one, and you should be able to get around 8 to 9 scones from this portion. And if you don't have a pastry cutter, you can use a glass. You can also cut them square or triangular, as we will demonstrate with the next portion. In a cup or a small bowl, make a little bit of egg wash by beating an egg and add a little bit of salt, and then brush it on your scones. Try to avoid to get the egg wash on the side of the scones. That will prevent them from growing up to full size. We decorated these ones with half a pecan nut, but you can really put anything you want. You can also put some demerara sugar, that works really well as well. Pop them in a preheated oven at 200 degrees Celsius and bake them for around 10 minutes or until they are golden brown on the top. It varies from oven to oven. And leave them on a cooling rack to cool off completely before you start serving them. Quickly moving on to our next batch. The recipe is completely the same, but instead of the pecan nuts and the golden raisins, we're gonna add some rosemary, and we take 5 grams of fresh rosemary. You just give it a rough chop, and then you take 60 grams of pecorino cheese that you grate. If you cannot find a pecorino cheese, you can use any kind of cheese you want. You can use a cheddar or a Comté cheese. Add your grated cheese and your chopped rosemary to the dry ingredients and a pinch of black pepper. Now give it all a quick mix before you add your cold butter and you crumble it in like you're making a pie crust. Add your 150 milliliter of buttermilk and give it all a quick mix and turn it out on a floured surface and do the folding that we did with the first batch. And this time we're gonna cut them into squares, and you should get the same amount, like 8 or 9 pieces. And don't worry, this doesn't have to be perfect, just roughly the same size. Same method as before, egg wash them and give them your preferred toppings. For this one we used nigella seeds or onion seeds, they're called as well, and then we top it with a little bit of flaky sea salt. Pop them in your preheated oven at 200 degrees Celsius and bake them for around 10 minutes or until they are golden brown. And now we have our easy homemade buttermilk scones 2 ways. This recipe is so easy and you can really put anything you want. If you want to make it sweet, or if you want to make it with chocolate, or if you want to make it with berries, they will work perfectly with clotted cream and jam. But for these ones we had a little bit of salami and some brie, and then we had a jam with mixed berries, and that worked perfectly. If you are interested in making the more American flaky biscuit type of scone, then click the info card in the top of the video, and I will leave a link in the description for the video as well. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, consider subscribing and hitting that like button. See you next time.